Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝗟𝗡𝗙. Joining me today is Srikumar Kannan as we look at the new pontiff of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, Shankaracharya, and the history behind this. What are the duties? What are the rituals? Why is this important? Why is this continuous lineage important? He's the 71st Shankaracharya. And how did this come about? All this and more with Srikumar Kannanji. Srikumar, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Namaskaram, sir. Ram to you. I'm fine. How about you, sir?
I'm doing well. So he is 71st, if I remember correct. Satya Chandrasekhara, something like that. Satya something, I remember that. And 70 was, of course, Vijayendra Saraswati. 69 was Jayendra Saraswati. 68 was Chandrasekhara Saraswati. 67, there is an interesting controversy there. Number 66, the man chose, I think he should have chosen number 68, but by mistake he chose 67, and something happened. In a very short amount of time, both of them died. And Chandrasekhara Saraswati became the pontiff when he was like only 8 years old. And he had to first go through Aksharabhyasa. I mean, he had to learn a lot of things before he could, ascend to the Peeth as the head. Lot of stuff there. I have a book that history of Chandrasekhara Saraswati at home. I go through that fascinating stuff of how he grew up. And here in this case, he is now 21 years old. So I think he has had some abhyasas. I don't know if he's going to continue education because there used to be schools in the Kumbakonam area that you could go to. I'm not even sure such schools exist. Vedpathshalas exist now. So talk to us a little bit about this history, the lineage, the importance, and what exactly are the responsibilities of the new incoming Shankar Mutt Guru.
Yeah. There is a famous verse which is used to say, 𝗏𝗏𝗙𝗏 Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. That means it started with the Sadashiva, that is the Shiva himself, and it followed by Adi Shankara, and it is followed by a Guru Parampara. So that is the meaning of the verse. So Adi Shankaracharya he propagated Advaita philosophy. So that Adi Shankaracharya established 4 mutts in the 4 corners of the country, that is east, west, north, and south. Based on that, he anointed 4 acharyas, disciples of him, as the prime acharyas of the 4 mutts. That 4 mutts were based on the 4 Vedas. For example, south was by Sringeri, by Yajurveda, Puri in east Rigveda, Dwaraka in west Samaveda, and Joshi Mutt in the north Atharvana Veda. So 4 mutts, 4 Vedas, 4 directions, 4 disciples as the principal acharyas. So this is the basic principles upon which he made that mutt. And Adi Shankaracharya made the Hindu philosophy based on Shan Marga. That means 6 prime deities or 6 basic subsects within the Sanatana Dharma itself. It is Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktam, Kaumaram, Ghanapatyam, and Sauram. These are the 6 things based on the principal deities. Shaivam, as we all know, it is based on the principal deity Shiva. Vaishnava, that is Vishnu. Sauram, that is Surya. Ghanapatyam, that is Ganesha. Kaumaram by Kartikeya, and Shaktam by Devi Shakti. The basis is the unification of the Sanatana Dharma. Though we get divided upon as so many sects and subsects, he planned, or he actually envisioned or envisaged the concept of a unification of a Sanatana Dharma. Whatever may be the deities we worship or we follow, let us all unite as a Sanatana Dharma, one. So that was the plan of Adi Shankaracharya. Now coming to the contemporary period, that is, as you rightly mentioned, the present Acharya, the new Acharya, is a 71st Acharya, and the new name given to him is Satya Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. That is a name which is given to the new Acharya. The 66th, the 70th Acharya is Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati
Vijayendra.
Swamigal, and 69th is Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal, and 68 was the Kanchi Shankaracharya, that is we used to call as Paramacharya, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamigal. You asked for the brief history, how the 68th Shankaracharya became instead of 66th and 67th. Actually, 67th Acharya planned to appoint Paramacharya as his successor. At that time, he was, he was facing chicken pox or smallpox at that time. There was no medicine for that pox disease at that time. So the message was sent out to Paramacharya. He was an young boy at the age of 30. So to ask to come to Mutt to take over the uh, Shankaracharya post. But at that time, what happened before he reached the Kanchi Mutt, because that time the transport was a very difficult task. So a horseman went to the village of Kanchi Paramacharya. At that time, he was known as Swaminathan, was his actual name. So when he was brought in, and before that, the existing Paramacharya attained the Mukti. So he appointed another Acharya before the real Paramacharya came in, to so that the lineage doesn't stop. Unfortunately, the new Acharya, that 67th Acharya, also got the chicken pox because he was serving his Acharya. He also got infected and he also attained Mukti. And when the Paramacharya reached the Mutt, there were no guru for him to give, the saffron robes were there, the Kamandalu was there, the Dhanda was there. So, but there was no guru to actually guide him. They have already attained Mukti. So, at the age of 13, the Swaminathan, he became Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamiji, and he is now called Paramacharya, not only because of the spiritual experiences what we are having, without having a guidance of the gurus, he became the Acharya by himself. So he lived for 100 years and he appointed Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji. And later the lineage continued to Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamiji and presently to Satya Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamiji, the 71st Acharya of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham.
Wonderful history down the trip down the memory lane there. And now let's talk a little bit about what exactly is the scope of Shankar Kanchi Mutt. Kanchi is not the original four; it's considered a special one, and there is always debate whether they should be, even brought on par. Let's not go into that. Kanchi Muttam has a very important role in all this, and it is believed that Adi Shankara himself came here and established this. And they set the date when Adi Shankara lived, 509 BCE. It is written there. I went there last year, and I have very vivid memories. So that is all fixed. Why 509 CE? I've done BCE. I've done a episode on that as to why it is that, and not, some people say 700 AD. And that is Abhinava Adi Shankara, and they tend to confuse the two. But the original Adi Shankara lived in 509 BC. Now, the role of a Mutt head has changed drastically since Jayendra Saraswati became, the Mutt head. Because if you remember, he was trying to create political activism, or whatever you want to call it. There was an organization called Jan Kalyan, that it was beginning to take root, and the politicians got a little alarmed. And people say that Jan Kalyan, along with his visiting scheduled caste families who had converted en masse in a place called Meenakshipuram, where he went and met with them and tried to convince them to come back to Hinduism, that a pontiff would go to meet with Dalits is something that was unheard of. And they all got alarmed. Of course, the Christian lobby and the Muslim lobby worked very hard. We don't realize all these things that happen, and that's what made his reign very controversial one. Now let's fast forward to the present. Today, Hinduism itself is in danger, And we are having second, third generations now who have only a nominal touch with Sanatana Dharma. They may go once in a while to temple. It's not even once a month. And we used to go, I mean, till I was in, high school or even through undergrad, I went to temple every day. Every day. This was like a routine. I didn't even think about it. Only when I look back, I realized that I spent about half an hour to an hour every day at the temple. Formative years were spent listening, that absorbing the energies, the resonance of all the shlokas chanted and things like that. It has a huge effect on you. Because I see that is missing now. So tell me, how do you think he needs to be steering this thing? Because this unity of Hindus, that is sorely lacking. Even now, we just need one electoral victory and Hindus go back to being Hindus. They start fighting among themselves. This is better, that is inferior, and things like that. How will he shepherd this whole thing together?
It's a very packed question. Let me try to answer them one by one. The Kanchi Mutt, as you rightly mentioned, is a special one because unlike the other four mutts, which are based on the four Peethas of
Vedas,
directions, Vedas and Peethas, and four directions on the four corners of the country, Adi Shankara himself, it made as a Sarvagya Peetha. Kanchi Mutt is called as a Sarvagya Peetha. He himself attained he mixed with the God himself at the Kanchipuram. So that lineage is being followed as a Sarvagya Peetham. And second part you mentioned about the year, as you rightly mentioned, the Abhinava Shankara has been mixed with Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya's period is more than 5,000 years ago, and it is more than BC. So that is now the people try to demean the actual period of Adi Shankaracharya. You tried to mention about Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji. Let me take back to the time of Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamiji, who is also popularly known as Paramacharya. When Sri Paramacharya became the Acharya as a 68th Shankaracharya, he also, at that time itself, there was a huge challenges faced by the Mutt. Number first one, that was a time where the atheism was, showing its face in Tamil Nadu. The Mutt was facing legal issues. The Mutt was having fund issues. And the new Acharya didn't had any guru by himself, as I mentioned earlier. So, a 13-year-old Shankaracharya, he had to take up all challenges in hand. Number one, he has to follow his spiritual path and he has to fulfill his Mutt responsibilities. He has to follow the Sanatana Dharma himself. He has to propagate the Advaita philosophy for others. Along with that, he had to face the challenges of atheism, fund issues, legal hurdles. At that time, there was a freedom also when India attained its freedom in 1947. So many political figures, they approached the Kanchi Acharya for his wisdom and to take his, wise words and for the construction of the constitution itself. The Kanchi Paramacharya played a vital role. He sent legal luminaries so that for including the separation of the religion from the government side, so many things, including giving importance to the Sanskrit in the language policy. So many things were made at that time. Now, coming to the present Acharya, as you rightly mentioned, the Hinduism is facing a unique challenge. It has to safeguard itself from the other challenges, and also it has to survive and propagate, and it has to cherish its own, strengths. So, in that way, the new Acharya of Kanchi has a unique challenge. We have so many temples that has to be safeguarded. The inscriptions of the temple have to be digitalized. That the words or whatever the history of the temples, because we know that in the name of renovation, the temples are being whitewashed and the inscription get disappeared. So in few years it will be mere constructions, and after that construction there will be no history for the temple if the temple get damaged by be it natural disasters or whatever it may be. So at that time, there should be some records which should be available to establish the presence and existence of the temple there. So those records need to be digitalized. The Vedas have to be taken to the every home, and each children, if they are, as you mentioned earlier, the Kumbakonam, the place where I also belong to, if the children are hesitant to go to Patashalas, there should be an online versions of the Veda Patashala so that children get involved, interested, and learn Vedas. The meaning of each and every verse, as well as their relevance in the present society. Why the Vedas have given some guidance. What is a Smriti and what is its relevance and interpretation in today's modern life? That also has to be propagated, interpreted, and it has to be taken to the new generation. So, because the new Acharya, he has to uphold the traditions of the well laid by the Kanchi Mutt on one hand, and take the benefits of the Vedas as well as Upanishads to the younger generation, so that the upholding of the Vedas is in the hands of the young generation. So there is a uniqueness that the Hindus, the foreign powers, what they thought, the biggest strength of the Hindus is their religious thought. So how to defeat the Hinduism is to make the Hindus to feel, ashamed of their own religion. That was the most controversial as well as the most dangerous what say strategy they devised, so that be it a modern religion, be it in the name of liberal thoughts, or be it a modern education system, they began to propagate in such a way that the Hindus feel themselves detached with their belief system. You mentioned that you used to go to the temples every day. For the benefit of our viewers, I wrote an article, Our Temples, Our Pride. So I will request Sachinji to give, or you and yourself also. It was my latest article in the Shama Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation. There I can request Sachinji to attach along with this video, so that I have
Yeah.
described along with the spiritual portion, what are all the non-spiritual aspects based on which the temples were built. So, but these things has to be taken to the new generation. So the hands or the new Acharya has to educate himself also, because he is learning. He is as a young 24-year-old Acharya. He has to complete his education portion also on one hand. He has to fill in the position of the Guru Peetham also, and also he has to have the new thoughts to take over, to take the Vedas and the traditions to be reachable as well as appealing to the modern youth. Yes, sir.
The link is already on the chat session, and it will also be in the description section. So viewers, you can get that access to it. Do you see a change in direction with a new pontiff? I would like to see more outreach. They are doing a lot of pujas and punaskaras. I've known Vijayendra Saraswati for Swamiji 3 or 4 times. I've met him. However, Paramacharya's aura, you can say, his greatness, grandeur, whatever, he touched many people's lives with his deeds and thoughts. That thing has actually faded away now, I think. And it could be that there are too many people now. Population has gone up, right? So there is always that problem. The pontiff still is one, and maybe that is one reason. Somewhere something needs to be devised, so people still feel connected with these Shankar Mutts. There are Shankar Mutts of Kanchi Mutt. They're available in just about every big city. In fact, in Chennai there are a few schools they run. It's a well-established thing. At the same time, somewhere I feel that there is still a lot of work to be done, and that work, Sringeri does a lot of sponsoring of Vedpathshalas, of people who are genuinely interested in teaching these things. They are sponsoring it. I don't know, what is the financial condition of Kanchi Mutt now? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't have any idea regarding their financial aspects. But one thing I will be like to say is the more decentralization is required in this regard with regards to Kanchi Mutt is concerned. Though there are establishment of numerous institutions are there, then more Vedic scholars have to be brought out so that to take the message of the Vedic traditions to the common man, and the interested people have to come, and the classes itself has to be divided into multiple parts, like the office goers also have to learn on one side. Children who are full timers of full-time students have also needs to learn, and the people, children who are going to modern schools, where the Vedas and the traditions play a role in their life. So how that can be also helped in their regard. That also can be taught. So those so many things are there. Uh, taking back you to the Paramacharya, the 68th Acharya, uh, he had a, uh, he had a very long-term vision. He started along with his regular pujas. He converted the Kanchi Mutt as a social aspect. Earlier, before the Paramacharya, the Kanchi Acharyas are they used to confine themselves within the four walls of the Mutt to follow their traditions and to bless the disciples and devotees whoever approached them. The glass ceiling was broken by the Paramacharya. He took by foot. He reached so many villages. He traveled across India. From Kanchipuram, he went to Andhra Pradesh, then to Puri, then to Varanasi, and then he made a full circle. He actually made Padyatra for more than 2 to 3 times. And Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji also made he covered those places which were untouched by the Paramacharya. He also visited by foot. So, because instead of making the people to approach the Mutt, the Acharya themselves they went out to reach out to the masses. This is the way the religion can be propagated on one side. Yes, someone is asking.
No, no, he's just making an observation that there is a puja. Go puja is done every day. On the day I went also, there was go puja. It's
Yes.
beautiful. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So along with it, the along social activities which were conducted by the Kanchi Paramacharya at that time was, as you rightly mentioned, the cow protection, the planting of trees, the Periyars, that is taking one bunch of rice so that it can be collectively cooked. Each house will be giving, those who can afford can give one handful of rice so that each house, and that handful of rice will be cooked on each day and it will be served to the poor and needy. And protection of Vedas, manuscripts, and digitalization. Those things were done during Paramacharya's time. Digitalization took place during the present Acharya's time. Another problem presently what we face is the society, the education also. During Paramacharya's time, the education was slow. At the time, that was independence time. So there were no big education policy was also not there. Presently, if you see the history books, the education policy, they has to also to be streamlined. So the role of Kanchi Acharyas, leave alone Kanchi Acharyas, the role of any Acharyas in the Sanatana Dharma, they have a huge role to play in designing the education policy of the country, because these acharyas are like the advisors, and they should give their valuable feedbacks, and those feedbacks has to be taken by the government seriously, because these acharyas know what is the good for the society, and what is good for the Sanatana Dharma, and to upkeep the rights and the not only the rights but the actual essence of Sanatana Dharma. the streamlining of the education policy is a must, and there I feel the new Acharya can play a vital role in that.
Thank you so much. And viewers, when I was growing up, at least up till the high school level, we would be required to chant some shlokas. For example, from Taittiriya Upanishad, Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavai. And also, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, and, of course, Vande Mataram, and a few other things like that. This was every day it was chanted in the school before you start. Prayer was like a mandatory thing. I think this, in the name of secularism, this has now been thrown to the gutter, and that's very, very unfortunate, because what little connect you had with Sanskrit went away when you don't even do that, and you're jumping headlong into subjects and things like that. So I don't know, hopefully this is something that educators remember and reinstate it, especially in states like Tamil Nadu. There's no hope of doing anything like that. They'll jump up and down. Useless people they're ashamed of their own ancestry. Shameless people. Anyway, so let's take some questions now, Srikumar.
Yes, sir, please.
Shankar VK wants to know, Srikumarji, Sriji, surprisingly, there was widespread coverage of the function by Dravida media also, and no adverse, nasty comments by the Periyars.
No, I also observed this time, Shankarji, because for the first time, I am also reaching. I am fortunate to have the darshan of all the three acharyas. Not the present one. I am yet to have his darshan. But I had a good fortune to have the darshan and blessing of the Paramacharya, Sri Jayendra Saraswati, and Sri Shankaracharya Saraswati ji also. There, what I saw was that they faced huge criticisms and nasty comments for unknown reasons. I still believe why it is so. In the name of a criticism, the Mutt faced huge, nasty comments. That is the right word you put. But this time, be it election season, or be it the awakening, or be it the social media age, or be it the Hindus are slowly feeling the right spirit, like why that our religion is being insulted in such a way for unknown reasons or for mean political reasons. So that could be the reason, as you rightly mentioned. I also share the same view. I also feel that this time they were lying very low, especially in the criticism part.
They won't do anything without a reason, Srikumar. This is all preparation.
That's what I feel.
So
election season. Yeah, that's what.
Complete dyed-in-the-wool crooks. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Sanatan is wide and fantastic, but the depth has been used for dividing. Do you ever see Hindus being together ever? Other communities have as much division, but both are united for public view. No, they are united only for voting purposes. And Hindus can also vote unitedly. You can have your differences outside of that. Srikumar.
I also feel so, sir, because the Hindus' problem with the Magnet Rakanji, the Hindus' problem is each Hindus is an intellect by himself. And the religion, Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, it doesn't address a crowd. It addresses an individual. And the individual also communicates back to the religion itself. There is no founder. There is no individual acharya. There is no single tradition. There is no single deity. There is no single practice. So think of such a religion which is having, that is also its own strength also. For example, I tell you, I am taking you in a different way. Suppose if the Hinduism was one and only practice, the foreign powers could have easily defeated that. Because of its, multifaceted personality, the foreign powers also couldn't know where to touch it and how to destroy it. If they try to destroy one portion of it, the other portion, it emerges by itself. So that is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism.
Next one, please. Jayanti Iyer wants to know, please shed some light on who is the 10th avatar of Lord Vishnu. Is it Buddha or Balarama?
10th avatara is Kalki. So, as I mean to say, you mean to say before Krishna, yeah, before Krishna, there are people they say it is Buddha. Some people say it is Balrama. But I also have the same confusion because in Sanatana Dharma, we used to say it as a Balrama. But we say in Ramayana it is Lakshmana who is avatar of Sheshnag. And in Mahabharata it is Balrama is avatar of Sheshnag. So Buddha was the ideal avatar, according to me, for in the Dashavatara. So Buddha, then Kalki. Krishna followed by Buddha and then Kalki. The problem with Buddhism and Hinduism is the difference. Being a student of culture, I am just taking some time to explain it. Buddhism doesn't believe in God. Buddhism believes in karma. Hinduism and Buddhism both share their thoughts in belief of karma. But beyond karma, Buddhism does not believe in Ishvara or God, whereas Hinduism believes in Ishvara and God. And beyond Ishvara also, it has a belief in Vedas. But the Vedic tradition is not followed by Buddhism. So this is the place where the Hinduism and Buddhism differs. Buddha was taken as a incarnation of Bhagavan Vishnu only particularly to the limited aspects of the ahimsa and the superstitious beliefs and the other portions of the sampradaya, not the Vedas itself. But it was twisted in such a way that the Buddhism is against Vedas. So that is the irony. Hope I answered your question.
Next one, please. Krishnamurti ji wants to know, I've heard some amazing things about Periyars. There should be a session about that noble soul to educate us. Krishnamurti ji, I personally have had a lot of things like that, many family stories. Yes, maybe if Srikumar wants to ask me questions, we can have a session on that. He was really close to, I mean, he was like an avatar of God. There were so many things that he could do that people have seen him perform real magic. Not magic like, you do something like this and a watch appears in your hands. That was mostly associated to telekinesis. No, but he was much more than that. Next question, please. Santosh wants to know, Shriji, people are not averse to Vedas. There are not enough teachers to teach it. Either they are too strict or mostly unapproachable. YouTube channels run by Ramesh Natarajan helps.
Yeah, I also feel so. Actually, because in the name of traditional approach, we actually keep the people away from the Vedic practices. So it is high time that the more and more people get themselves involved in learning Vedas, in learning the traditions, and how it can be helped out. So new teachers has to come out. Number one is they have to be an interpretation. If there is a verse or if there is a saying, why it is so, each reason should be given and the people should also understand. Because the problem with the today's generation is that today's young generation, they have no problem in accepting the traditions. They want to know the reason. They want to know the logic. They want to know the meaning. So if that is explained in proper way, there is no hesitation from the part of the young generation to embrace the traditions and whatever it is being given. So that responsibility remains with the teachers. So it is the teachers and the way of the Vedas. They have a huge responsibility in their shoulders. They have to explain and take the Vedas in such a way so that it brings in more and people into its fold to uphold the integrity of the Sanatana Dharma. And these young generation only they are going to take the Vedas to the next level. Yes.
Next one, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskaram, amazing to see this avatar of you. Thought you were only in political analysis. Great.
No, politics came later. Actually, I am more interested in culture and religion. Politics came much later. So, be it blessing of my gurus. Sri was mentioning about Paramacharya. I have I have the great fortune to meet Paramacharya 2 times when I was a young boy. when I was at a year of 10. I met Paramacharya. At that time, he was very active. And Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji, I have met multiple times. And, I had private conversations with him for hours together, uh, uh, discussed so many things. The present Acharya also used to give his blessings. Of course, I couldn't converse with him much, Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamiji. So all these things, and I have the fortune to meet the late Pejawar Swamiji, senior Pejawar Swamiji, Sri Vishweshwar Tirtha Swamiji. So those, the great souls, they are the pillars of Sanatana Dharma, I should say. They shouldered very big responsibilities in their shoulders. Of course, he is also not with us now. Sri Pejawar Swamiji, the junior Acharya is with us. Yes, please.
𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗏 Ratna Sabhapati wants to know, in terms of expansion of the Vedpathshalas of the Kanchi Mutt, wouldn't it be good for the Mutt to establish one Vedpathshala in 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗻, which badly requires one? Yes, indeed, 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗻 needs to be reconstructed. It used to be a seat of learning. Lots of Adinams are there in deep south in Tamil Nadu. I'm sure one or two could be already in 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗻, but Kanchi Mutt is a little bit more of a bridge to, like Advaita and things like that. I think this will be, we'll see if we can get the word out. Like everything else, there's so little cash and so many things that needs to be, spread for that. So good idea though. Sridhar Kasireddy wants to know, go ahead.
Sorry. Earlier also, the Adinams, what Sri Ayarji was mentioning, they also accept the Veda Parampara, Veda tradition. The difference is they follow Tamil as a language, following Devaram, Tiruvasakam, and also the Nayanmars. So, Kanchi Paramacharya also, he convened so many religious conventions attended by the Adinams. He actually unified not only the Vedic Acharyas of, even the Vaishnava and Vishishtadvaitam, but also the Adinams separately to uphold the Shaivite philosophy also. So the Shankara Mutt can act as a bridge, as Shayarji was mentioning, in 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗻 also to spread out the Vedas. And there are already the Adinams are there. Of course, in a different form, to the native, in line with the nativity of the Sri Lankan culture. We have to see how the Vedic traditions can be taken to Sri Lanka, especially 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗻. Yes, please. Sir, you are on mute.
Sridhar Kasireddy wants to know, we require KG to PG free Gurukul modern education institutions run by temples, income and donations from Hindus. Our spiritual leaders should take it as task. Your opinion?
Yes, actually, my opinion is now, along with the existing school education, there should be, of course, we are having some Gita classes, Shloka classes are also there. Along with that, there should be a Hindu heritage classes. So, starting from the people, why they are applying bindi, why they are doing that nevedya for that god, what is the need for a temple, what is the need for a festival, what is the need for an attire, what is the need for a culture, what is the need for tanks in temple, why there should be a vahana, what is the meaning of God. So that Hindu heritage itself has to be taught along with the modern education. That's what I feel, because this will actually shape the children in such a way, from the elementary belief system until the Vedic system. So, if the children all of a sudden, if you are put up to learn Vedas, it will be very difficult for them to cope up with their modern culture also. So, if they blend along with the education, it will be of great help. Let us see how it goes.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to a close of today's program. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with Srikumar ji next Sunday. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.